Hello and welcome to today's movie analysis session where we will be diving into In the Mood for Love, directed by Wong Kar-wai. The film is set in 1960s Hong Kong and follows the unfolding lives of two neighbors. I'm a moderator Anya and I'm joined today by Ikra, Ashi and Rohan to unpack the historical and political layers of this movie. So Rohan, what stood out for you in this movie?
So, keeping the articulate language of cinematography and vibrant color palette aside, the first thing that stood out is the cramped up housing where Mrs. Chan and Mr. Chow live. By looking at those hallway scenes, you can feel the conformity. It almost feels as if the walls are coming at you. These tight living spaces reflect 1960s Hong Kong, which was overcrowded because of waves of migration from mainland China. People were fleeing famine, repression, and the authoritarian communist regime, seeking stability and freedom under British ruled Hong Kong.
Exactly, and Wong Kar-wai makes this visible through his framing. Many key scenes are shown through windows, curtains, railings, or even glass. This creates a sense of constant surveillance. Mr. Chow and Mrs. Chan were always under threat of gossip, and Mrs. Chan was scrutinized of what she wears and where she goes. This societal pressure caused them to be often silent rather than speaking their heart out.
Right. It almost feels like silence itself becomes a character in this movie.
It certainly does. If we place it in the broader context of 1960s China, this was the aftermath of the Great Famine and the lead up to the Cultural Revolution. On the mainland, speaking out could cost you your life. In Maoist China, neighbors often acted as informants to the party. Although Hong Kong was free under the British rule, people still lived cautiously because they carried the memory of repression with them. We can draw a clear parallel here. Just as Mrs. Chan and Mr. Chow never openly articulate their affair, migrants never openly criticize the communist regime.
This sense of surveillance runs throughout the film. In the second half, the walls start to dominate the frame, making the characters appear smaller. You can feel the emotional suffocation of these characters through this framing choice. But in the political context, the walls dwarfing the characters can reflect how individuals were made small in the face of authoritarian systems. The characters' shrinking presence mirrors how people's personal identities and freedoms were overshadowed by political and social constraints, whether from Mao's China or colonial Hong Kong's rigid structures.
As beautiful as those slow motion shots of fetching noodles, walking through corridors, and climbing stairs are, they also reflect the monotonous lives of migrants in 1960s Hong Kong.
Yeah, absolutely. These repetitive routines make us feel trapped, showing how lives were reduced to work and duty with little room for personal freedom. The hauntingly melancholic Yumiji's theme plays over these rituals, amplifying the sense of entrapment and conformity.
But we also can't forget the gender dimensions in this movie.
Of course, Mrs. Chan is judged for her clothes and movements, showing how women were policed as systems of morality. While she's trapped by fears of shame, Mr. Chow can leave for Singapore. This is a contrast that reflects male freedom versus female entrapment.
What about the ending? How do we feel about that?
I find the idea of whispering the secret into the wall and just burning away the traces of forbidden love very gut wrenching.
And placing this in Cambodia isn't accidental. Although in 1966 Cambodia was at neutral rule, it was sliding into civil war. In 1970, Cambodia engulfed in war and bombings. Just as Chow's secret is swallowed by the temple, Cambodia itself would soon be consumed by war, with countless personal stories erased.
I couldn't agree more. The silence of Angkor Wat foreshadows the silencing of millions during the Cambodian War. I love how this film shifts from an intimate love story to a political one, although in many ways it was always political.
All right, I believe we have had an engaging conversation. Thank you, Ashi, Rohan, and Ikra, for sharing your insight. That's it for today. Thank you for joining in.